No, this is damning. It really is. I got it.
Drama Alert Asia Wilson is publicly criticizing her own colleagues as if she were the team's owner, coach, and general manager. Caitlin Clark's body metamorphosis, on the other hand, caused the internet to act as though she had just entered Super Son mode. What's actually going on? Let's get started because this tea is hotter than Asia's ego. One is fighting in the locker room, and the other is getting better, like she's in an anime training arc.
So Caitlin Clark in college was not the strongest player in the world. Like, she was somebody that wasn't weak by any means, but we saw when it came to the WNBA that she wasn't able to really assert herself physically. And in fairness, her first game matchup was a tough one because her first matchup was against.
While Caitlin Clark is out there looking like she has joined the Avengers, Asia Wilson is out there pointing fingers once more, putting her own teammates under the bus and pretending as though she had nothing to do with the Aces' failure last season. Caitlin has been working hard, and the results are becoming widely shared.
It wasn't a championship locker room, Wilson said. I mean, out of the gate, going into training camp, I was like, we ain't got it. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. I always told myself, we're going to get it. We're going to check each box, but we didn't.
Asia is suddenly out here criticizing the locker room and calling out teammates as though she wasn't on the floor when things came apart, even though the Aces suffered when it counted most last season. Yes, Asia, it was everyone else's fault, but you're right. She was here demonstrating her respect for her teammates, and now she's placing the blame on them.
Caitlin Clark is carrying the WNBA, and the numbers prove it. But guess what? Some so-called experts are downplaying her impact. CBS reporters actually said she's not the one moving the sport forward. Seriously? Clark is responsible for over 20% of WNBA sales.
According to the internet, Caitlin Clark is in the best physical condition of her life. I can't get enough of how she's changed. She looks stronger, faster, and more explosive than before. Her arms and legs are defined, and her body is created for dominance. This is how greatness appears. The finest athletes take criticism, turn it into inspiration, and return stronger than before. Caitlin is doing in response to what she hears, not just listening.
Sort of know how the league plays, if nothing else.
Yes, she is stronger, first and foremost. And again, she's got a lot of self-awareness. And, she figured that out, right away. Like, I need to get stronger. I can't get knocked around as much. And so she's done a great job of getting in the weight room and really focusing on her areas that she needs to focus on in terms of strength, in terms of, low center of gravity, time under tension, like all of those things. I think the next step is...
Asia Wilson, on the other hand, is a little too busy making excuses. She has a ring. But now that things aren't going her way, she's blaming teammates. Her ability is nowhere to be seen, and if she had Asia Wilson's attitude, Caitlin Clark would still be in the gym complaining rather than getting stronger. However, Caitlin Clark isn't built that way. She's working hard while Asia is placing the blame. It's amusing how one person responds to criticism by leveling up, while the other player begins pointing fingers. While Asia Wilson is out there playing the blame game, Caitlin Clark is out there setting an example of what true leadership looks like. Perhaps she should learn from Caitlin's example rather than searching for scapegoats.
This guy was working out when something unexpected happened that freaked everyone out. You could see the surprise on the face of the woman next to him, clearly concerned by the unusual noise that erupted. But instead of panicking, he remained completely unfazed. As it turns out, he was just cracking his back, a sound that might have seemed alarming at first. He gave it another crack in a different position, proving he was totally fine.
Caitlin Clark didn't need to say a word, because her transformation is evident in her muscle definition and the way she moves on the court. She will be an even bigger problem for the defenders next season, and Asia Wilson will have a whole new set of excuses ready for when things don't go her way again. So, while Asia Wilson continues to point fingers at everyone but herself, Caitlin Clark is letting her work do the talking, and the internet is loving every second of it. The 2025 season hasn't even begun, and Caitlin Clark is already winning, but A'ja Wilson is still trying to convince everyone that she isn't the issue. Caitlin Clark will simply continue to work.
Thing that you all have to keep in mind is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have not put anyone in that place. And so, hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammond are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM. So let's get into specifically what has been happening. So the latest departures for the Las Vegas Aces include 2 heavy hitters off the bench and 2 former 2023 and 2024.
She was being double-teamed at the grocery store, full court pressed in the parking lot, and flagrantly fouled at the gas station. It was absurd, but instead of crying over it like some people we know cough, A'ja Wilson cough, Caitlin Clark said, "Not this year. You guys remember how players were out there acting like tackling her was a part of the game plan." Caitlin entered the lab and worked diligently, by which I mean for 6 months straight, without breaks or vacations, since I need to relax my body, etc. Simply a grind.
I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and to continue to get in the gym and work on that every
When you're talking about GOATs of the W, I need my name to be up there, at least top 3. Like, that's my goal, is like, I want something like, when you're thinking of women's basketball, when you're thinking of the W, I want my name to be on it.
Come on, tell them, A'ja, tell them.
Takes, like, whatever it needs to get there, whether it's the rings, whether it's the accolades individually, like, I want to be up there.
A'ja Wilson has been busy organizing a one-woman excuse tour in the meanwhile. I was exhausted. We had injuries. The referees didn't call us, girl. The Aces were given a wonderful team, but they still didn't look well when it counted. Before, you thought Caitlin Clark was tough. Now, you think she's dropping 40 while carrying defenders like a backpack, and the best part is that she's just getting started. Caitlin Clark was tackled like it was the NFL, but she didn't say a word. Instead, she went to the gym and transformed into a Marvel character. Fast forward to now, and Caitlin is looking scary. However, A'ja Wilson continues to emphasize that it was a lengthy season and that she was unable to complete the task. Caitlin Clark had a lengthy season as well, and she spent the whole offseason ensuring that the defenders would require therapy the following season after protecting her due to exhaustion. Caitlin has been going to the gym nonstop for 6 months, and you're talking about fatigue?
Together a beautiful season. The Indiana Fever, based on what they did last year before she got there, based on how they look now since she's gotten there.
They're gonna make the playoffs, Ocho, and they didn't do that last year.
Yeah, it ain't rocket science. Sis is good.
Y'all didn't think she heard all the comments about her not deserving? You don't get to the level she got to without using some type of fuel.
And let's be honest. The funniest thing ever is when Caitlin Clark arrives at training camp looking like a superhero and A'ja Wilson arrives with yet another justification. One of them has been working hard, and the other has been doing interviews. One has been lifting weights, and the other has been taking the blame off her own shoulders. One is going to rule the league, and the other is going to come up with a new reason why she didn't. Now that the season is about to begin, you know what's coming. While Caitlin Clark is busy launching the ball into space, A'ja Wilson will be on the sidelines discussing the need to be locked in. Meanwhile, A'ja will be on the bench, appearing perplexed as Caitlin's defenders file workers' compensation claims. A'ja Wilson will be somewhere still blaming the referees, the schedule, the sun, the moon, and the alignment of the planets, while A'ja will be seeking sympathy, but all she's getting is a front-row seat to the Clark show. The league attempted to slow her down last year, and now they'll have to deal with a version of Caitlin that appears to have been training with The Rock. A'ja Wilson was pointing the finger at everyone but herself for the Aces' issues, and now she's out here acting as a public relations manager, urging fans to calm down, because the whole roster has left. Sydney Carlson left, and the Aces fans pretended that they had just lost their entire family in a house fire. Now, A'ja is in the locker room berating everyone as though it was their fault. And let's not forget about Kelsey Plum's departure. This was amazing. She leaves the Aces lands in Los Angeles. And what does she say? "I've never been treated so well." Oh, that must hurt. You know it's bad when someone voluntarily leaves Vegas to play for the Sparks and is out here boasting about how wonderful life is, like saying, "Dude, This motel, with the broken air conditioner and vending machine dinner, is the best place I've ever been.
Staley taught her that a winning team should, quote, look, sound, and feel a certain way. I gotta tell you, there's a lot that one could take out of that right there. Wilson said that the Aces didn't meet those standards.
But A'ja Wilson, oh no. She's not accepting responsibility and is only wondering why everyone is leaving, possibly because of the negative vibes. A'ja, maybe people got tired of the dictatorship in that locker room, but no, according to her, it's everybody else's fault. First it was management, then it was player decisions. Next thing you know, she's going to blame the janitor for sweeping the wrong way. And let's not forget the Aces fans, they were in shambles over Sydney Coulson. Leaving y'all were crying like you just lost LeBron in free agency. But A'ja, she jumps on Twitter talking about stay calm, we're going to be fine, girl, fine, where you? Went from a super team to praying you don't end up like the Indiana Fever last season. And don't even get me started on how A'ja is trying to play victim in all this. Oh, suddenly she's the leader trying to hold things together. No, you had all that energy for blaming folks, but now you're out here trying to play peacemaker. It's like setting a house on fire and then handing out water bottles. Too late for that, sis. But hey, Aces fans, don't worry. Maybe next season y'all can run a 3-on-1 league since y'all barely got a team left.
One more for you. No playoffs since 2020, no championship since 2016 for the Sparks, who at one point were one of the marquee franchises in the WNBA. What's your timeline for getting back to that level?
Taking a day at a time. But I do know that in everything that I do, I will win. So I feel very confident about who I am and what I can bring. Because it doesn't matter me being here if I don't affect winning. But I know I can do that at the highest level, so that's what I'm most excited about.
The Aces supporters are currently in complete disarray because their beloved A'ja Wilson has been losing teammates one after another, which upsets her. Suddenly, the squad no longer appears to be unbeatable, which is terrible to watch. But who doesn't detest it? All other WNBA teams, but particularly the Indiana Fever, who are preparing for free agency appearance. For far too long, Aces supporters have had it easy as they have been able to enjoy their little super squad while everyone else had to suffer. Now, however, they're furious because the Fever is out there signing players as if they genuinely want to win games instead of lying over and playing dead like they did last year. Indiana should create a competitive roster. This is so disrespectful and audacious that someone should contact security because Aces supporters are having a complete meltdown.
With breaking news, can y'all stop, please? Sydney Coulson, another big signing. They got their backup point guard, a 2-time champion, so now they got even more past champions on their team. Indiana Fever ain't playing around. They are not messing around. They getting their starting 5 together and they backups. Now you got legitimate points coming off the bench. Now you got a legitimate point guard that's not going to turn the ball over like Erica Wheeler did most of the time.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark and why would she probably didn't need to improve that much, but did she still hit the GY and step up her game? Oh, yes. It's as if she decided one day to make the WNBA even more unfair. She was already dropping logo threes for fun, and now she's even faster, better handles, and somehow has an even higher basketball IQ. The Fever didn't just draft a star, they draft a monster and A'ja Wilson. Oh, she won't like this at all, as you can see. A'ja was accustomed to serving as the league's face, but that spotlight is quickly filling up. Caitlin Clark is bringing an army of fans with her, and these team signings are crazy. Yes, this team isn't just here to make the playoffs. They could just mess around and win the entire thing. The funniest part is that the Aces fans are powerless to do anything but watch.
What do you mean Sydney Coulson is joining the Indiana Fever? What does that mean? Indiana is just being so fucking greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Coulson. Like, why would they take Sydney from us? Why?
The Indiana Fever are now on the rise, and every WNBA club should be afraid because 2025 is going to be a movie. Fever fans should get excited because Caitlin Clark is coming and she's bringing the best Fever squad we've seen in years. And let's face it, this is only the beginning. Indiana is creating something unique, and by the time they're finished, the Aces might just be another team in the way. Hold on tight, Aces supporters. This is going to be a long season for you all. As for A'ja Wilson, she had better settle in since her days of dominating the league without opposition are over.
Curry met his class teacher, his reaction was so real and cute. When Curry's high school teacher decided to take his wife to watch Curry's game, he wanted to see if the student who hadn't seen him for many years still remembered his class teacher. After they arrived in Oakland, they bought Curry's jersey and prepared to give it to him for an autograph. They arrived at the stadium early and stayed by the players' tunnel, worried that they would miss the encounter with Curry. The teacher seemed a little nervous. When Curry came to